reclaiming our environment, reclaiming its abundance and its species. And it's not an easy task, but it is being done. And I think those are the stories we need to tell so that our children have a roadmap to follow into the future as our glaciers and our polar ice caps continue to melt. And this is problematic on many levels, most of all because a huge part of our food security comes from the poles. They're very through the lens of sacrifice. If we change the narrative and we look at it as an investment in the future quality of our communities and our relationships to each other, then it becomes something that has incredible value and purpose. And they were moving in unison, and they swam all around me. And it was this moment where I looked around, and I was like in the middle of fireworks. And I'd put my hand out, and they'd move away, and I'd bring my hand in, and they'd come back. But the oceans, by the time I had my first experience scuba diving, were a very different place from the ones that... And I think he just refused to accept that diagnosis. And so he worked for months to be able to move his little finger. And he eventually got back full movement in his body. And partially, that was thanks to the ocean.
More than half of those explosions, something that surprises me, but it's because of my lack of knowledge, is I don't listen or I don't hear anything about it. So my question is, do you know the impact of those explosions in the ocean? And is there anything happening in the world to prevent that?
That's a great question. I don't actually have an answer to it. I don't know what the impact has been either. I don't think there's really been a study of the fallout in the ocean from those tests, at least insofar as the ecosystems are concerned, or all of the poor dolphins and whales and fish and sharks that happen to be swimming through that area at the time of the explosion. I think the efforts for nuclear non-proliferation is probably the best solution we have to.
Some years ago, a Japanese, I think it's a student, I don't know his name, he made a study of the nuclear explosions in the world, the history of the nuclear explosions in the world, starting in 1945.